When choosing cuts of meat, choose meat that has the least amount of visible fat and trim this visible fat off. Buy choice or select grades of beef rather than prime. Check labels on ground meat. When buying ground beef, look for the packages with the highest percentage of lean meat, 90% or higher. Most grocery stores offer several types of ground beef with varying percentage of lean meat by weight. Try low-fat ground turkey or chicken breast meat. Ground poultry can have just as much fat as ground beef, or higher because it often includes dark meat and skin. To make the leanest choice, choose ground breast meat, or look for low-fat ground chicken or turkey.
So now let's talk about shopping for your meats and your poultry. So you're at the grocery store. What you want to do is you want to buy all of your other groceries before you go to the meat department. What you want to do is you want to eliminate that time that the meats or your poultry are outside of the refrigerator. So when you're buying it, what do you look for? Well, the packages are going to have dates on them, and there are going to be a couple of different types of dates. There's going to be a packaging date, there's also going to be a sell-by date, and there's also going to be a use-by date. If you're seeing a sell-by date, usually you have about 2 days after a sell-by date before you're going to have to either eat it, cook it, or freeze it. If you pick up a package with a use-by date and it's the day that you're looking at it, you probably want to put that package down and go ahead and try something else.
If you're going to cook turkey, like for Thanksgiving, pay attention and make sure to choose whole turkeys that have not been injected with fats or broths. And never buy pre-marinated meats or poultry. Marinate all foods yourself so that you can control the fat, seasonings, sodium, and other preservatives. I also suggest, whenever possible, if it fits in your budget, buy organic or grain-fed meats and poultry. If you prefer not to eat animal sources of protein, when reviewing your recipes, 1 cup serving of cooked beans, peas or lentils, or soybean curd, also known as tofu, can replace a 2-ounce serving of meat, poultry, or fish. Have a variety of beans in your cupboard, like red beans, black beans, navy beans, but no baked beans. Canned beans make a quick addition to dishes that don't require long simmering. Make sure that you rinse all canned beans well to remove any sodium added during processing. Another great source of protein is egg whites. Egg whites are high in protein with no fat or cholesterol. I simply buy a large carton of pure egg whites so it's easy for me in the morning just to whip up an egg white omelet. Now let's talk about cooking. First, when you go to season your food, like your meats and poultry, use single spices, not pre-packaged spice packs. If there's a particular packaged spice you like, check it. This means going back to reading labels and checking for sugars, glutens, wheat, and other unwanted ingredients or preservatives. Check everything, even your mustard, soy sauces, and vinegars before you purchase it. For you rice and pasta lovers, some great alternatives are things like quinoa, spaghetti squash, and mung bean noodles. These alternatives taste great, they will satisfy your craving, and they are easy to prepare, and are a great source of protein, fiber, and other nutrients. Alternatives when a recipe calls for fat or butter are things like omega butter or spreads. Remember, some of the healthiest oils to cook with are walnut, flaxseed, canola, and olive oil. But remember, some oils are best to cook, some to bake, and some to use in your salad dressing. You never want to overheat your oils. If you use oil that doesn't have a high smoke point, the temperature at which an oil begins to smoke and break down, overheating your oil will release carcinogens into the air and free radicals into the oil. So, what about using canned oil sprays? Many people like to use oil sprays to coat their pans to prevent sticking. Some no-stick cooking sprays may have alcohol or silicone, which is not healthy. There are oil sprays out on the market that state no alcohol or silicone right on the front of the can, and use healthy oils such as canola and olive oil. These type of canned sprays can run upwards of $5 a can. My personal preference is to buy an oil spritzer, or some call it a mister. They come in recycled plastic or commercial stainless steel. Having one of these will not only save you money, but cut down on empty cans ending up in a landfill, which is good for the environment.
So let's talk about cooking your vegetables. You want to use methods that are going to retain the flavor and the color, which essentially is going to retain the nutrients as well. What I'm going to suggest is to steam your vegetables instead of boiling them. Also, you want to avoid any kind of high temperatures unless you're going to be stir-frying your vegetables. Any kind of high heat or any kind of liquid is really going to destroy the nutrients that are going to be valuable in your vegetables. Now, cooking your meats, you want to avoid any kind of pan frying. A quick stir fry is going to be okay, but really you want to try and do something like a broil or a roast. Grilling is great too, but you got to be careful of any kind of charring or burning, because when you burn your meats, it's going to cause carcinogens, which of course are cancer-causing agents. So now let's talk about cooking fish. Some people dread cooking fish, but one good rule of thumb to think about is 10 minutes per each inch of thickness on your fish. You want to cook it at in between 400 and 450 degrees, and that's going to be for your baking, roasting, broiling, poaching, or steaming. Seafood doesn't need to be turned over in the oven, and you want it to reach at 140 degrees Fahrenheit, which you can check with an internal thermometer. If you're going to wrap your fish in foil, then you're going to want to allow an extra 5 minutes cook time. When the fish is ready, it's going to be opaque, and it's going to flake easily with a fork.